Major.
Fairly average.
All right, we are live. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. We're going to be talking about poetry, introducing you to the world's most useful talent acquisition technology. I'm going to talk to you a little bit, first of all, about why we have created this product, the problems that we're solving. I'll then share my screen and show you what it all looks like. Stephen's going to give you some good information around how you get set up. And Stephen, give us a quick introduction to who you are before we get started.
Yeah, so I'm Stephen. I'm the product experience manager for Poetry, which essentially means taking my recruitment experience and my recruitment technology experience to try and create a platform, listen to customers, listen to focus groups, industry experts, and really make sure that we are building, as you said, Adam, the world's most useful talent acquisition technology. So we can't do that without loads and loads of input, and it's my job to listen to all of that input and try and make it a reality in some way.
Wonderful, and thank you for everything that you've done over the last 6 months and 3 days to help us to get where we are.
Yeah.
So I'm Adam, and I'm one of the co-founders at Poetry. If I don't know you, I've been in recruitment since 1999, and I love just doing things that hopefully make recruitment better for recruiters and candidates and hiring managers, but specifically recruiters in this regard. So when about 2 years ago or so, I started learning a little bit about sales enablement technology and how it helps salespeople to really do their job, pretty much paint by numbers. So products like HighSpot are libraries, super libraries for how a salesperson can get access to all of the policies and processes and conversation scripts and tools and props and calculators and content assets and processes and demo structures and things that they need to go from a cold call outreach right through to closing the deal and onboarding the customer. There's a lot of steps involved in this. And as I'm learning about this, I'm thinking, how do we do this in recruitment? What do we do? Do we give our recruiters like libraries of policies and processes and candidate interview templates and job adverts and job descriptions and all the other things that they need? And my instinct was we probably don't. So I did 200 hours of focus groups, and what that told me was maybe 20% of companies actually do some active initiatives in this area, and around 80% of companies give their recruiters an applicant tracking system, a LinkedIn login, a phone, and tell them to go and be entrepreneurial and get all their jobs filled, from a receptionist through to a head of treasury management, like all in the same day. Okay, so we can't expect recruiters to be deep experts in all of those different jobs that they're hiring for. They probably don't have a social media post which is relevant to that. They probably don't know what it's like to work in the companies in your area which hire for these people. And we have looked at every single need that a recruiter has for how they understand the job, how they get all of the assets, and we've brought them all together within one workspace. So there's no candidate profiles within Poetry. The problems that we're solving are, you need to have less browser tabs open. Recruiters have 20 plus browser tabs open at all times to access all the information they need. You don't need to be going to SharePoint anymore, the black hole of SharePoint. You don't need to be going onto Teams every day saying, hey, does anybody know where I can find out information about hiring in Malaysia? Or has anybody got a job advert for this underwater basket weaver position that we've never hired for before, so there isn't one in existence? And so let me share my screen and without further ado, show you our solution to all of this. When you log into Poetry, you're on this desktop, and at the desktop you've got tiles. Each one of these tiles represents a solution, and there are tiles for marketing solutions, operations, learning, and tools. As you can see here, we've added third-party solutions into this particular desktop. Let's say we've got SAP SuccessFactors as a applicant tracking system. Recruiter clicks on the tile and it just opens it up. We've got CV Library as a job board that our recruiters have access to. It's on our desktop. Recruiter clicks and it just opens up to the login page for that particular solution. That was taking a bit of time to load. Not sure quite why. We've got Gigged as this marketplace for tech talent. Click on this, and it opens up the login page for Gigged. If I want to change the desktop, it's really easy. I just go to my admin, and then I go to my desktop groups. Let's say we're no longer on Bumble, Adway, SuccessFactors. Switch these off, and I'm going to switch on Greenhouse, and I'm going to switch on Great People. Go back to my desktop, and you can see Greenhouse is here, Great People's here. Recruiter clicks on the link, takes them to login. There's no need to ask what the URL is to access any of your solutions anymore. They're all here on your desktop. Okay, I'm a recruiter in your team, and I'm going to be working on something I've never worked on before. So I'll go to Research, Create. This is for a human resources job. It's a recruitment specialist based in London, and I need to understand the job. I've never recruited for this before, so I'll click what's the main responsibilities, what other job titles are similar, and which academic institutions train people to do this, and what's the average salary and benefits. I also want to understand who are the most prominent employers for this type of job. I also need to understand some workforce demographics, gender diversity, and turnover rates in this profession. This is going to help me not only with my sourcing, it's going to help me have a brilliant conversation with the hiring manager about their expectations for this piece of recruitment. So here's other similar job titles. Here's the places where people might have studied in that area. Here's the average salaries and where that's come from, Glassdoor, Payscale, and Indeed. Here's the number of people. There's around 1,500. And in the last 3 months, there's been 750 job listings for this. So it's strong demand for talent acquisition professionals. Again, sources here. Gender diversity in this. Women make up 49%. And again, sources are listed here. What's the turnover rate? Average tenure, 2.5 to 3 years. What's the main responsibilities? Okay, and who are the most prominent employers? Who's the most prominent employers? All right, so now I understand that job considerably better. The next thing I'm going to do is find out a bit more about the types of people that we're hiring in here. So I'll go to my personas, create. Let's stick with the same thing. So it's a human resources job. It's a recruitment specialist based in London. And I click generate, and now this is going to tell me about their typical educational background, typical work experience, the technical skills they have, their short-term and more long-term career goals, career aspirations. Okay, so this is the classic marketing persona. Okay, so got some good information. Right, the next thing I want to know is, like, I can see that quite a lot of these people work at Randstad. Let's find out, what's it like to work at Randstad? Go to my battle cards. I'll search for Randstad. It's not there. Okay, so I'll create one. Randstad.com. Create competitor. Okay, so now this has created the Randstad profile within my battle cards. Here's some good information about Randstad as an organization. Where are their people in the world? What's their social media links? Some good summary. And now I want to know more about what's it actually like to work there. I'm going to click Generate Insights, and Poetry is going to read the internet and return for me their strengths as an employer, their weaknesses as an employer, and other information. Okay, so let's take a look at culture. Community and societal impact, strong emphasis on employee development, international and diverse culture. Okay, good. Strengths, commitment to diversity, extensive client network, and a global leader in talent solutions. Weaknesses, variable candidate support, potential for impersonal experience, large and hierarchical structure. This is reading the internet to return back this information. Okay. Right, I'm armed with so much information. Now, shall I go and talk to the hiring manager? I could do, or shall I go and really quickly find some potential candidates as well so they can take a look and tell me what they think? I'm on the right tracks. Go into my Boolean builder, create. This is a human resources job. It is a recruitment specialist. It's based in London. I click Inspire Me for job titles that are similar to that. I click Inspire Me for locations close by. I'm going to get rid of that one. HR specialist isn't quite specific enough. The others look fine. Build my Boolean string, search Google, and here are recruitment specialists and similar based in and near London. Okay, great. Now, I've had my meeting with the hiring manager, and I'm going to do a bit of marketing on this role. So I go to my social media posts, I go to my email copy, I go to my social media outreach. But actually, if I don't want to go to all of these individually, I can build what we call a playbook. So I'm going to go to my playbooks, create, and oh, hang on a second. Create playbook, and it is for a human resources job. It is recruitment specialist. It's based in London, and I'm going to do some advertising, social media brand advertising for this. I need email copy for a campaign to CRM. I need a job advert, and I need a social media post. Okay, I then click build playbook, and it'll probably take about 60 seconds to deliver these maximum. It'll probably take 40 seconds to deliver those 5 or so assets that I've just asked for. Okay, so while it's building that, the hiring manager, okay, let's just go back. Okay, so here's the playbook, that's been created. So here's my job advert. What it's done is it's read my company's EVP, which is over in the setup area. It understands our the unique value that we bring into people's careers if they're working in recruitment. It understands the person's career objectives and things like that to be able to create that. Email copy. Here's the suggested email copy. If you want a campaign to go out, then we can do that as well. So if you want like a several step campaign. Now, the hiring manager said yes, they want to see my candidates and they want some interview questions. So I go to my candidate interview, create. It's for it's a human resources job. It's a recruitment specialist. It's based in London. We always do technical questions, so I select technical. And this is for the first stage, open-ended. Okay, I click Inspire Me. Now, of course, as a recruiter, you probably do understand what good interview questions might look like for this, but you can apply this to any job that you add in here, almost no matter how niche it is. Right? So imagine you're tasked with sourcing candidates for a highly specialized technical role. The job description requires a unique skill set that's not common in the market. How would you go about identifying and engaging potential candidates for this role? Good. Okay, follow-up questions. What tools or platforms would you utilize? How would you tailor your outreach? And can you describe a time when you successfully sourced a candidate for a challenging role? Okay, there's 3 different options in here. So, very useful. Other things we have in here, we've got a library for policies, we've got a library for processes, we've got the templates for how you do your hiring manager kind of kickoff meetings, a place for managing and creating, if you need, job descriptions. Hiring manager enablement is very useful. So I've got my hiring manager is Grant Peacock. He's based in Newcastle upon Tyne. And here are the different assets that person's going to need. What we're going to do as a recruitment team, what you need to do as a hiring manager. Here's how we do screening. Here's how we do EVP. I want to add in how we do interviewing. So I'm going to search for that particular asset, drop this in. Yes, I want to add that in. Now additional actions, send email and send that out to the hiring manager. So some really great ways of collaborating with your hiring managers in here. Other things that you might find useful. So find colleagues. If you've got a large team and you want to find colleagues based on something like, right, who's an expert around the area of assessment. This will bring up individuals who have tagged themselves in their poetry profile with that as an area of expertise. The hiring manager's got quite a fixed mindset about what they need, but I know it's going to be hard to source exactly what they're looking for. So I need some suggestions for how we could broaden out how we do this recruitment. Go to my skills-based hiring, create. It's a recruitment job, so I'll do that again. Human resources, recruitment specialist, based in London, inspire me. This is now going to tell me the other jobs with some overlaps in skill set, in skills required to do this job. It's going to tell me what are the skills required to do this job, so I can have informed conversation with hiring managers. So here's the essential tasks, here's the essential skills and competencies, and here's a potential implementation strategy for how to go about doing that, and the related positions, of course. In terms of learning, one of the important things that we've got on offer here is in the team learning area. So here's how we do advertising, here's how we do assessment, here's how we do CRM. When a new recruiter joins your organization, this is one of the first places they'll come so that they can get really familiar with how to go about doing their job and how to represent the company properly. It's not the sort of stuff you'd get with like Talent Sandbox or Social Talent. It's more so like, here's how we do it. Here's how you do your job. So here's how we do advertising. Here's how we do assessment. Here's how we do CRM. As you can see down at the bottom, I've got admin access. So as an admin, I can add in a new learning card, I can edit an existing learning card, and I can delete a learning card if I want. Okay, now we want to make absolutely sure that all of the assets that are getting produced within our poetry workshop are on brand and they are in context for my company. Stephen, what are all the things that we need to do to make sure that poetry is working in a way that is absolutely like set up so that my recruiters don't really need to do very much?
Yeah, so I well, we try to make this as simple as possible, right? So really there's just kind of three kind of major things that you need to have a think about in terms of how your organization will run and operate to set up the poetry platform. The first thing that you want to do is just take an audit of these solutions in front of you, right? Make sure that the kind of each section's marketing, operations, learning, and tools are applicable to your team and your org. We'll send you a list that looks similar to this. It outlines each solution, tells you which each of them are used for in a very kind of brief way. And you're able to say, yes, I would like that, and no, I would not like that. Now, the great thing is, as Adam showed you right at the start, no, I don't need that right now doesn't mean no, I don't need that ever. It's just about enabling, your team to have access to the best solutions possible right from the get-go. So once you have kind of organized that, you really need to start optimizing it for your company. And what we kind of say is building your org. So if you head to that admin menu on the top left-hand side there and go down to admin and then org, this is a fairly straightforward process. It can be done manually. You can type these in, or you can upload a CSV file and drag and drop it right into here. Teams are essentially your departments, your kind of business areas, things like engineering, sales, that type of thing. And you can just kind of go in and either, like I say, type or upload those names. Once you have the team sorted, it's about adding job titles in there. So which job titles are specific to which team, right? So if you have customer service, you'll see we've got some options there. You can add, delete, change them as you need as well. Once you have all your job titles, we then move on to locations. That's pretty straightforward. What locations are you hiring for, right? You might want to separate that data in various different ways, depending if you're a, kind of a national or international company. It might look slightly different. And the reason that all of these things are really important to define and kind of identify correctly are not only is this where you will categorize things in the platform moving forward, how you'll be able to find assets really quickly and really easily. But it's also helps us with the kind of AI, infusion and magic that Poetry brings to it as well. The last thing there is hiring managers. Definitely not last or least in the list of importance. But what we do is we give you the option to upload the hiring manager names or type in hiring manager names. This is really handy for things like hiring manager enablement, sending asset packs later on, and really just being able to send information as quickly as possible from Poetry to the hiring manager. Lots of exciting initiatives around hiring manager enablement to come in the future. So once your org has been set up, it's time to go into the menu again, head to setup and head to configuration. This is the area where you're really going to tell the platform all about you as a company. So templates, that's things like, what do you say at the start and at the end? What's your intro and outro for your job adverts, your job descriptions, your social media posts? Do you have a standardized approach to those things? And if you do, let's paste it in here once and never have to do it again, right? Rather than for people scrambling and looking for that. Hey, what do we say at the end of, X, Y, Z? It's all here. Also got the ability at just a click of a button there, as Adam was showing, to translate into 185 different languages. So really simple and really easily for you to scale this globally across different teams and different locations. Once you have templates sorted, you then want to think about global rules. Global rules are all the things around your EVP, your hashtags, your logo, your rules and guardrails around kind of AI and how it can be used. Do you want emojis? What tone would you like to have? Where do you want the positioning of your logos in AI generated images, etc., etc. So what we really start to see here is the kind of permissioning of that kind of section of the platform, if you'd like. There's this kind of worry, and it's probably a worry, rightly so, in terms of uncontrollable AI, right? Like your people have all got any sort of LLM open, on the right hand side of their screen, and they're furiously typing away and coming up with non-approved job adverts and job descriptions, and really kind of, it might not be any better than if they wrote it by themselves to begin with, but it's done in a kind of repetitive fashion. What we're kind of allowing you to do here is really infuse the platform with some beginning rules and beginning guidelines around that. Once you have got the EVP, once you've set your rules, you want to really give us some company info. And what we do with that EVP and with this company info and with your website and career site and things like that, that is how we set a persona for the LLMs to feed back information. So we're scraping information from the internet. We're building you as a company persona and a profile, with your personal settings. And you go through and answer all of these questions. These questions will include things like, what are your values? What does your company stand for? Why were you created? What are you trying to do? And really, it's about telling that story up front, because telling that story is what's going to produce better and better content every time as you keep moving forward. So it's really crucial to set all of that. And it's also really important that you go back and tweak it and audit it. And, what are you happy with and what are you not happy with? And think of this as like your kind of own interface to really get out of AI what you need as an organization. Then meaning when your recruiters or your end users are creating things in Poetry, it's done in the same tone of voice with the same guardrails down the sides. That means that nobody's getting too wild and crazy and posting whatever they want out there, which Adam probably has experience with me doing anyway. So yeah, it'll be less of me and more of probably what you need. That's the best way to put that. Yeah. But that's it. Look, that's it. To be honest with you, like choose your solutions, set up your org, and then set up your kind of like company profile and things like that. There's a handy guide there in Poet's Corner that tells you what those 3 steps are before you get started. And then we have nice walkthroughs and things like that, and videos, and it's all quite interactive for you to really kind of have full-time access to not only a setup guide, but a repository of a knowledge base and access to further communities and videos and things like that. So that'll be an ever-changing kind of asset for Poetry users, but it's a really, really important one.
Okay, great. A couple of things to finish with. So I'm a manager and I want to understand what's going on in the workspace. I can just click on the analytics button and then analyze desktop usage. And what this is going to show me is which of the solutions are being used the most and the least based on the thickness of the border and the number in the corner. I can break that down by individual if I want to. I've got a one-to-one with Stephen. I could go and just select, right, which user, and then choose the individual, and I can get to see what that person's been spending their time mostly doing and not doing, and that might help me with that one-to-one, might help me with interesting coaching options. And then over in the analytics area, I've also got a variety of different options for what I can see in here in terms of how the platform's being used and leaderboards and things like that. My favorite is asset analysis, which is showing me the value of all of the assets within my Poetry workspace. So I can see that what we've created is £1.5 million worth of research, conversation guides, job adverts, EVPs, marketing materials, talent intelligence, things like that, which is a pretty useful indicator of how valuable all this information is. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to just ask Stephen to talk a little bit about what is next steps. I think we've already created the world's most useful talent acquisition technology, but we're certainly not stopping here. We've got a lot of great things that we're going to be doing. What are the most important sort of next steps in terms of product roadmap and kind of direction?
Yes, we've got some really genuinely exciting stuff that's coming up, and we know that's exciting because we're taking it to the market and asking if it's exciting before we make any decisions, really, to be honest with you. All our decisions are either customer or industry led in terms of the direction that we want to take, and the things that, the innovations that we're putting in place. So imminently, what we're currently working on right now is retrieval augmented generation. So that kind of RAG method of being able for you as a Poetry customer to upload assets, and us being really a best in class kind of finding, serving, searching tool that will serve up your assets in a easy and quick way to kind of understand, then the ability to replicate those assets again and again. So look, if you've got the best kickoff meeting template in the world or the best set of job descriptions, we don't want to take away from that. We want to enhance that, and we want to give you the opportunity to then replicate that, down the line, and probably make your kind of Poetry space learn from what each of those is and why it's good, etc., etc. So that's a really kind of exciting initiative that, like I say, we're working on the first iteration of right now. I mentioned one of them earlier, which was hiring manager enablement. So we've got some basic hiring manager enablement in the platform today about you being able to send assets to a hiring manager for review and things like that. We're going to evolve our kind of approvals part of that and the ability for people to view things inside the platform and say yes or no, or I like that, or I don't like that. We're also going to, probably give hiring managers access to a version of what Poetry will look like, and give them the ability to, create different things, edit different things, comment on different things as well. So really just kind of being part of the full recruitment life cycle, and really buying into that idea that, your recruiters should be business partners in an organization working alongside a hiring manager and learning from each other as well. The next big thing will be integrations into platforms. So, we're currently maybe 6 months ago, we were thinking about integrations from a very basic level, right? How can we help you set up your Poetry platform? What can we kind of take in? How can we upload CSVs, or how can we get information directly from ATSs to make sure we can help you set up quicker? And that's kind of evolved to us really trying to bring your attention to the assets that you have available at the right time. So how we do that might be through platform notifications, might be through emails, might be through all of the above. And it's really about injecting ourselves into the traditional recruiter workflow to make sure that we're not just, another pain tool that they need to click on that, they're not that interested in, to, oh, wow, this is real value here because I get stuff when it matters, and that's a really, as an ex-recruiter, that's super exciting for me, because I was one of those recruiters that would not click on the new system, but certainly would if I felt like I was getting something from it. And that's what we want to make sure that Poetry is doing, is, everyone from top to bottom is seeing use, in all different personas types. So that's a real kind of exciting initiative moving forward.
Brilliant. Okay. Stephen, thanks for joining me. I hope this has been useful and interesting. If you want to get going with Poetry, you can get started for free. Go to poetryhr.com, fill in the form. It won't take very long. You'll then get your login instructions through email, and each organization gets one free account, an admin account, so that somebody can go out, scout it out, work out which solutions you want and which are not necessarily a priority. And please give us any feedback. If anybody wants to talk to me about it, if you've got any questions specifically, you can reach me through LinkedIn, Adam Gordon Poetry, or you can get me on email, adam.gordon@poetryhr.com. Stephen, thanks for taking the time to join me today. And thank you, everybody, for signing into the session. Bye for now.